Finding creative solutions to existing problems is nothing new. Today, it's called entrepreneurship. Be it the caveman who invented the wheel for transportation or tribes who used the barter system to buy goods, entrepreneurs have existed across the ages. The Industrial Revolution marked a profound shift in entrepreneurship. This was fueled by two major reasons: the availability of energy and cheap labor. So, starting in the 18th century, entrepreneurship moved from small-scale local business in small towns to large-scale production in big cities. Fast forward to the 19th century, where business and entrepreneurship went fully global, and the digital age a century later led to more innovation and furthered entrepreneurial activity. Today, most big names in entrepreneurship are ventures powered by technology. Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, etc. are the biggest names among entrepreneurs known globally. However, entrepreneurs need not be on the cover of Forbes to be successful. What makes any entrepreneurial venture successful is that it has something of value to offer to a client. Across cities, small towns and villages are small entrepreneurs contributing to their economies while remaining unnoticed. A vegetable vendor, a tea stall owner, or your local grocer. A majority of such micro-entrepreneurs are in emerging economies. A 2019 report by Dun & Bradstreet said that in developed countries, 55% of companies are micro-enterprises, compared to 95% micro-businesses in a developing country like India. This shows that especially in developing economies, a major part of the economic activity is happening through micro-entrepreneurs. These businesses are fulfilling their customer needs, employing people, driving economic activities, and impacting other entrepreneurial activities. No matter at which scale, entrepreneurship requires a certain mindset. A mindset of constantly looking to improve and innovate and understand customer needs. But one does not need to be an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur to nurture such spirit. This mindset can even help in the workplace. Employees with an entrepreneurial mindset are the ones who attempt to understand the customer pain points, are creative in their ideas to finding solutions, are not shy of taking risks and taking ownership of the product or service. To improve entrepreneurial activity, it's essential to encourage entrepreneurs at all levels: micro-entrepreneurs, small, medium, and large businesses. Entrepreneurship drives GDP and creates jobs and wealth. It spurs growth and impacts entire economies. Consider how a few IT companies existed in India in the 1990s, but when the IT sector quickly expanded, it led to the expansion of other sectors. There was a boom in call center operations, hardware providers, and network and security maintenance companies. They also indirectly impact sectors like real estate, hospitality, education, retail, transport, and entertainment. Not every person ends up being an entrepreneur, but the success of an entrepreneurial venture rests on several contributors. It's the entrepreneurial mindset that gives one a sense of ownership for an idea, leading them to contribute better. To keep entrepreneurship thriving, it's essential to develop, nurture, encourage the entrepreneurial mindset. Let's recap. The Industrial Revolution marked a profound shift in entrepreneurship. This was fueled by two reasons: availability of energy and cheap labor. In the 19th century, globalization caused a boom in entrepreneurship, with economies engaging in global trade and communication. A major part of the economic activity lies in micro-entrepreneurs. An entrepreneurial spirit aims to drive change, constantly look to improve and innovate, understand customer needs, and feel a sense of ownership of new ideas.
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, before we start, let's just have a brief moment of prayer. Father, we thank you this afternoon for your mercy. Thank you for how you've been of help to us. We appreciate you. We still be exalted in Jesus' name. Even as we commence this little program, we ask that you direct us and lead us in Jesus' name. In Jesus' mighty name, we pray. Briefly, we'll be looking at, as part of our entrepreneurship skill, we'll be looking at mobile application development. And basically, I will be covering all that you need to know to get you started with mobile application development, the various technologies that can be used, and where you can kickstart. And at the end of the lecture, I will give you a link to useful resources that you can get started with, so that you can, take this bold step of making mobile apps. So, introduction. We are all aware that almost everyone is making use of a smartphone these days, and being a mobile developer is a lucrative career that anyone can get involved in, and the future of mobile development is just at its beginning, because almost everything one can be built on a mobile application. So how can you become a mobile app developer? The first thing you need to do, you need to have as a basic skill, is that you need to know how to write codes. That's the first thing you need to have. You need to know how to write code, at least basics like JavaScript, C#, Python, Swift, and Dart, as the case may be. Because for you to deploy a mobile application, you must write codes. So if you want to be a mobile app developer, you must take interest in computer programming. So irrespective of your discipline, you can be a lawyer and you're writing codes. You can be a mass communicator, an engineer, or you can pick up a career in programming. Praise the Lord. So you must have the requisite skills of programming for you to be able to write, for you to be able to build mobile applications. The second thing you need to have as a person, you have to be analytical and a problem solver. You see a problem, you are thinking through on how to solve that problem, basic arithmetic operations, fixing issues. I think you need to have that kind of a skill for you to be able to be a mobile app developer. So you must be creative, not just writing codes. Okay, the codes you're writing, what problems can it solve? How can it be of help to the society? So you must have that analytical skill. Also, once you be able to learn how to code and you have analytical skills, you can think through how to solve a problem. There are platforms you need to consider before writing codes for mobile applications. The most popular platforms, as we all know, are Android and iOS. Okay, there are some persons that strictly write programs for iOS operating system. There are some that write programs for Android operating system, and there are also some that write for the both. You understand? So the technology I'm going to show you, you can write a single source code and build for both Android operating system and iOS operating system. Also, you need to have a niche. What do I mean by a niche? More like a segment. There are persons that specializes more on writing application, that's games. So on the mobile games you see, applications you see, there are persons that choose to write applications for e-commerce because there are some certain skill sets you need to know. There are some certain things you need to know about that particular sector you are writing. But nevertheless, there are some individuals that can still write all across several niche. They know about what it takes to have an e-commerce business, and because they know what it takes, they know what people want. So because of that, they could build applications for e-commerce websites. Okay, gaming, they know what it is, the stages in game, they know what it is for people to play game and what is involved. So because of that, they're building game applications. Okay, messaging and communication. Okay, they know what it takes to write messaging. For example, like WhatsApp, they know, so they have some basic skills in networking and security. You need that for basic for messaging and communication. You understand? So you need to understand where you're going to and learn those requirements. For example, like I was saying, messaging and communication, at least you must have basic knowledge of network and how the internet works. You understand? And computer networking and so on. So once you have that kind of knowledge, you should be able to write applications, mobile applications for messaging and communication. If you want to build an e-commerce application, at least you should know, you must have shopped, you must have bought one or two things on, let's say, Jumia, Konga, as the case may be. You must understand the workflow, you must understand payment integration, payments processing, and code, and how to secure your payments. So all those things, when you have them at the back of your mind, it will direct you on which niche. So if I were you, as I have been doing, you must strive to get experiences on several niche, not just sitting there and say, okay, I'm only writing, building games, or I'm only building e-commerce applications, as the case may be. Praise the Lord. So let's look at technologies that one can use to build mobile applications. There are several technologies, several frameworks, several things that you can do, but I'm only presenting the best three. When I say the best three, based on trends, emerging trends in the technology. Okay, there's what we call Flutter. First thing, Flutter. It's a Flutter is an open source framework that is built by Google. And this technology makes it easy for one to deploy mobile applications for both Android and iOS operating system. You write your code once and you can deploy on several platforms. Please get it. Let me make this clear. You write your codes, and when you're writing your code, you choose your platform. You understand? You cannot write your code on thin air just like that. So you write your code and you deploy on both Android and iOS application. So Flutter makes use of the Dart programming language. There's a programming language called Dart, D-A-R-T. So it's a programming language that is used by Flutter. So you're writing Dart, for example, and you want to deploy on an operating system, you will need Flutter to deploy your codes. So the next one is, next in popularity is what we call React Native. So React Native is developed and maintained by Facebook. So Facebook owns this technology. So actually, the React Native use JavaScript. So some of my people, or some people that are taking interest in learning JavaScript, you will use React. JavaScript actually primarily is used for web development. So people that actually build websites with JavaScript can easily dive into this technology. So React Native uses JavaScript as its programming language. The next one is Ionic. Ionic also, which is next in line, also uses JavaScript. More precisely, there's a framework in JavaScript that is called Angular that is being used to write this code, but it's just JavaScript. But the framework is called Ionic. The next one is Xamarin. Xamarin, it's a Microsoft-owned open source framework used for deploying native and high-performance Android, iOS, and macOS applications. So it's a .NET C# programming language. So there's a programming language called C#. So, like I was saying, Xamarin is owned by C# and owned by Microsoft, and using the C# programming languages for writing codes. So, out of all these technologies, I think I've been privileged to use the Flutter, also using basically React Native and Ionic. So I've actually developed with Flutter, with Ionic, and with Xamarin. I'm sorry, with Ionic, Flutter, React Native, and Ionic. Praise the Lord. So my choice, which I believe, my choice, the choice of what I'm going to discuss now is Flutter. Flutter seems to be the most popular. And before Flutter, there are individuals, developers that strictly write for iOS application. They use Swift programming language, or what we call the Objective-C. Swift programming language, Objective-C programming language. So those are the two languages Apple supports for writing iOS application. Also, many of you must have heard of Java, Kotlin. So these were the technologies Google used. Java, I think currently it's deprecated. We no longer use Java to write Android by Google. Also, Kotlin is another programming language, but it's no longer in support. So what Google supports for their technology for Android development is Flutter. And if you do your research very well, you see that popularly one can use Flutter for Android development. So what is Flutter? Flutter is a framework created by Google. So Flutter is a cross-platform framework used for developing applications for Android, for iOS, for web, and also for desktop. But for the web, it's still in development. That framework is not so strong for the web. You understand? So there are different programming languages that are strong for whatever thing you want to do. So Flutter is still very strong. It's still not so strong for the web. So I don't advise you to use that now. But maybe in future years to come, you can decide to write Flutter for the web. But currently supports building for the web. Also, but the best usage, you use it to build Android and iOS application. You write your code with that and deploy seamlessly. Flutter is open source. What do I mean by open source? People contribute. There are several developers, several programmers that write several features that assist other developers. For example, you want to build a face recognition section of your Android app. You might not need to write everything from scratch. There could be someone who has actually built that technology before and then deployed it for open source. That's deployed it. So they made that feature open. So if you want to include a face recognition into your mobile app, you can simply download that module and add it to your code source. So with that, you can make it makes work faster. It makes work faster. So Flutter is open source. It makes it faster to develop in a very short time. You can actually develop and deploy your Flutter application. Also, there's what we call hot reloading. You might not understand it now, but let me just mention it. Hot reloading, once you are writing your code and you are testing, the changes are taking place immediately. If maybe, for example, you are writing Java, many of us might have experience. If you do, you see that you have to compile. If you are familiar with C# or not C#, sorry, C++ and C, as the case may be. When you write your code, you have to take a lot of process for it to compile before you see something that it's worthwhile for your code. But Flutter, once you're writing your code, the changes are done automatically. That's what we call hot reload and restart. So Flutter is easy to learn. It's easier to learn. You understand? If you have basic experience with programming, you can easily dive into Flutter. But if you don't have, you need to start from the basics of programming, like I said earlier on. So Flutter has community support. What do I mean by community support? When you have challenges, you are facing several bugs on your application development, you can easily go online and ask questions and ask for help. Just by Google searching, you see that several individuals have actually been through that particular challenge you're going through, and you can easily find help. So that's what we mean by community support. There are several applications that have been built with Flutter currently, and there's still more to come. For example, your Google Play, the one you find on your mobile phone, was built with Flutter, has been built with Flutter. It was actually built with Java before, but it was rewritten with Flutter. Also, you see Dream1, eBay, and other stuffs. You can do your research to find other applications that have been built with Flutter framework. Okay, so I don't know. I might have to send this slide across for you to follow instructions on how to get Flutter working in your computer. Although after the class, I have something for you that if you don't have a computer, you can simply use your Android phone to start learning. It takes a process. Give it your time, 3 months, 6 months, a year, as the case may be, or you can just be practicing. You understand? If you don't have it, but if you have a computer, you can simply install Android Studio. There's a software called Android Studio that is being used for Android development. Generally, people writing Java, people writing Kotlin, as the case may be. So Android Studio, that's the first thing. You need to download Android Studio, and it's quite heavy. That software is quite heavy. Your system must be something that is very strong, minimum of I think 4 gig RAM. If you have a 2 gig RAM, then the system will be very slow. Praise the Lord. So you have to download Android Studio. That's the first thing you need to do. Then thereafter, you have to install the Flutter plugin. So maybe I'll give this slide at the end of the class if anyone needs it. Oh, sorry, let me just go back to my screen. So So once you have installed Android Studio, you just need to install a plugin for Flutter, and that Android Studio is just like an IDE, a software where you write basically codes. You understand? So if you don't have Android Studio, there are several applications that you can use. One is called VS Code. One is called VS Code. It's another software that you can use to write codes for that can be deployed using the Flutter framework. So I have some useful links that if you can screenshot them now, I think it will do you some good. Okay, so the first link is a documentation that gets you started with Flutter. And the second one, which I will show you a little bit, let me just show you that just for the time being. Let me show you the second link that I have. It's an online let's show you the second link that I have. Oh, can you see my screen? I hope you can see my screen. So this one, it's a code lab where you can practice. You understand? You have lots of guidelines there. And before I forget, there's something I also want to let you know. One of the skills that you need as a developer generally, a software developer, you should be able to learn on your own. There's so many resources out there that you can learn. You understand? Once you give yourself to learning, personally, I still learn. I have so many courses that I've bought that I've not finished taking. Understand? So you have to give yourself to learning. So this is one of the links that I have. You can get started with so many things here. I also have another link here too. Also, you can start with the basics of Flutter. The basics of Flutter. Just what you just need is just an internet connection. And there are so many things you can learn here also. There's so many things you can learn here also. So many things. You want to keep practicing all these things. You see that you'll be able to do well. Praise the Lord. So these are two major links. I also have another link, the third one. You can pick it, maybe just screenshot this. The last two links, the last two URLs you have there, I discovered it. They are Android applications that makes you that will help you to practice. Let me click on. So the Android applications, this is the first one that we see. If you don't have a laptop for now, and you are picking interest already, picking interest on building mobile applications, you can pick this Android. You can pick this Android app. I think it has where you can learn. Let me just pick this screen so that you see. There are so many topics you can practice with, like the introduction. Then it gives you an environment where you can write codes. Maybe you are learning. You can write the codes. If you see this button here, if you can see my screen now, you write your code on your mobile application and you run and you see results. This way you can practice. You can practice your codes. And if you give yourself, let's say 2-3 months with these things, you will see that you're already building the right foundation for picking up a career in mobile app development. Also, I think I have the last link. Still similar, but I think I prefer this. This one, after learning that programming language, you also have the privilege of learning Flutter. You understand? Flutter is just a framework. Once you learn that, that's all you need. Then you also learn Flutter from here. And it has options for you to practice. You understand? Also, there's a very popular online editor. You can also do that on your phone. I think it's called Dartpad. Okay, that should be that part. That's correct. Okay. Okay, this thing is an online editor. You can practice all that you have learned. So my assignment is this. These two links you're seeing here, these two links, I'll need you to download the application. Please take note of this assignment. Please download the two of them. And I want you to finish the section for that programming. So you are going to practice and show me an example. I think there's a certificate at the end of either this one or this one, any of the two. There's a certificate there after completion of that of the course of that course. So I will need you to display the certificate at the end of the training. So that's my own assignment. Assignment you have to practice, something you have to be on, you have to, practice. So look at these two applications now, here and here. So download the applications on your Android phone and practice that programming language. So I think I'll be available for questions. That's all I have to present. For questions now. I'm still waiting for your questions, please. Okay, somebody asked a question. I think I can see one question. Is it possible to build an application without coding? Yes, yes, there are tools. I think I'm able to work with a tool that makes it possible for you to build games, just games, just with a few buttons. I think I've seen one, but you can't be a mobile application developer. Please understand me. You can't be a mobile application developer if you don't know how to write codes. It's as simple as that. Personally, I started my career as a web developer, though I'm still a web developer, though. But I still learn how to build applications, mobile applications. So you must learn how to write codes. That's the first thing. So Flutter, I'm saying another question. Will Flutter and coding have anything in common? Flutter is a framework. Let me start with what is a framework. A framework is a set of open source tools that makes it easy to write, to program in a particular language. Let me give you an example. Python is a programming language, and we can build websites with Python using several frameworks. Like there's a framework called Flask. You understand? There's a framework called Django. There's a framework called Fast API. There's several frameworks that you can use to build websites with Python. Also for mobile app development, if you're writing with Dart as a programming language, if you're writing with Dart, then you will need Flutter as a framework. So the framework, please, is just sets of codes that makes it easy. You understand? It's not everything you have to write from scratch. So the objective is concentrate more on writing a feature, an application, while leave other things for the framework to use. You understand? For React Native is a framework. You use actually JavaScript programming language to write Android apps. Also for Ionic framework, use the same programming language JavaScript. So there are little features that you need. So that's the answer to the question. If you're not satisfied, you can still ask. Okay, how to start coding with Flutter. I think I shared several links that you can take a look at. Maybe I'll share it. Let me share that again so that you can see. So if you can see my screen, these are the links. Maybe you don't screenshot this link, take a screenshot, or you write them down, but just take a screenshot and later on you go and check this out. So these are some of the documentations that you can use. But better still, if you're not satisfied with this, you can simply go to Google. There are several tutorials on YouTube and paid ones on Udemy that you can just pick up and get started. But these are just the basics you can use once you have a computer. So for those that don't have a computer system, just have Android phone. The last two links are Android applications that will make it easy for you to learn that D-A-R-T, the Dart programming language for Flutter, and also the second one precisely has a course for Flutter development. So if you don't have a computer, you can download these two applications, the last two applications, and make use of. But if you have a computer system, I think you can start from the first link and some of the code labs that are there. Thank you very much. Okay, the next one is, I think I've answered this question about websites. Just look at those links. And the next one is, how do you install the Dart extension on VS Code? It's very simple. Just go online. Very simple. This question you ask me now, take it to Google and just search. I think there are several documentations that you can use. I think I've used VS Code. I prefer using VS Code. But the simplest way to get started is just using Android Studio. So if you're a newbie, you're just starting, I'll recommend you use Android Studio, as I've just said. But you can simply go online. It's very simple. Go online and search. You see documentation on how to use VS Code. So I'm still waiting for questions. Okay, sorry. I think I've been muted. Sorry. I've been muted for some time now. So let me just retreat. You are getting videos on YouTube. You're getting videos on YouTube. You look at how many likes, on YouTube. You understand? Look at how many likes on YouTube and how many persons have watched that video. Please, I'm answering question. I'm answering this question. Somebody asked that I should recommend a YouTube channel. Okay, and I said I don't really have one person to recommend, but these are the things I use before I pick a tutorial on YouTube or even on Udemy or any course. I look at how many persons that I've watched, how many persons like the video. You understand? Then I also look at the year that video was published. I look at the year that video was published. That video has to be a recent publication. You understand? If it's not recent, if it's as far back, if it's beyond 2020, I will not watch. I will look for a more recent video. Let's say 2021, 2022 max. I won't go beyond 2021. Then if I didn't see anyone for 2021, I might look at 2020. Do you understand? But once you see a video that has these parameters, many people liked it, many people have watched it, and it's a recent video, then I recommend you subscribe to that channel. Praise the Lord. So that's that. And also, I think, let me repeat some questions, some answers. I don't know where I was caught up. So, okay. Somebody asked the question, minimal requirement for RAM. I think I suggest 4 gig. I don't go below 4 gigabytes of RAM. If not, when you open Android Studio, you have to go and eat, take a bath, have siesta before you come back and see it running. So I suggest minimum 4 gig of RAM. And if you have 6 gig, fine. If you have 8 gig, fine. If you have 16 gig, fine. You understand? So just get minimum of 4 gig of RAM. Okay, I don't know if somebody had me when I said answer the question on how to install that extension on VSC, that's Visual Studio. Okay, you can simply go online and see tutorials. It's very simple. They're very simple. Just very simple. Go online and search how to use Visual Studio for Android Studio. So that's that. Then somebody is asking for practice. Then I share the link. You can look at the link. The last two links are mobile applications that you can use for practicing. I think I demonstrated that here. So you can look at them and practice if you don't have a computer. And I gave an assignment. I said complete the course on that and get a certificate. So the certificate will be that you have. Someone is still asking this question: can you use phone for starters? Yes, I said yes. At the end of my lecture, I gave out links that you can use. Let me project that link again so that you can. Some of you that want to pick it up can pick it up from there. So if you see my screen now, look at the last two links there. You can simply download the application there and okay, you can see the link here, the last two links here, and download the mobile application. Okay, I want to drop the link on the chat. I'm going to drop the link on the chat so that you can go and download it. Dropping the link on the chat. Yes, so please, if you are following me now, just look at the chart here. So this is the first mobile app. You can pick it up. Then this is the second one. Please, you can look at those links, click on it, and get those applications done. Let me also send the same link I sent on my presentation. So you can also look at these links below. These are the other links. The first two are mobile applications, while the other two are the other link is a link I shared before, so you can pick it up and learn. So for the person that asks if you can use phone, yes, possibly you can use phone for now. Just download the application and you can get started with that. So our time is almost up. Please just throw your questions. If I've not answered your question, please you can just retype them for me to see. If I've not answered your question, you can please retype them. Okay, maybe somebody is saying how long will it take for you to become a leader app? With consistency, if you give yourself 6 months to a year or even 2 years, consistently learning and building. Please don't just watch the video, or you have to practice them. It's when you practice them, you get a grasp of what you want to do. So we have less than 5 minutes. Okay, somebody asked, does Flutter help in producing game? Yes, you can make games with Flutter, but Flutter is not the best. It's not the best framework for gaming. You can make game, but Flutter is not the best. I think that's what's supported by Google is called Unity. I think maybe I think it's Unity. Maybe you cannot search for Unity. Let me check and give you a link so that you can look at it. And if you want to make games, make Android applications with Unity. So for people that want to talk about gaming, can look at this website I sent below. Yeah, somebody asked, can you make money? Yes, definitely you can make money. There are several ways to make money. For example, you can work for an organization, you can start up a company. You can start up a company. Once people know you are good, work on getting yourself very good at making Android apps. Then also have what we call portfolios. Anybody that wants to give you a contract, we ask you, what have you done before? You understand? We are telling them you're a mobile app developer. They'll ask you, what have you done before? So you should have portfolios already published on Play Store. Before you as you get started, you see all you need to do, so you can publish your game or your app on Play Store. I would always recommend people to those places, and once they see that you've done something on Play Store, yes, that satisfies their the question. Also, you can also make money by selling. For example, there was an app I built, like a quiz app, and I say, okay, for you to claim this particular reward, you need to pay so amount of money. You can integrate a payment system on the application. You understand? If you have a business, for example, you sell groceries, you deliver, like, let's say, cake and other stuffs, and you want people to buy from your mobile app, you integrate a payment system there, and you make money also from that mobile app. Another thing again, you can make money by selling ads. There's a system made by Google. It's called AdMob. AdMob. It's called AdMob. I check the chat there. AdMob makes it possible for you to sell adverts on your, on your mobile application. That way you can earn a living. But before you make any significant money, you must have many people using that particular application. So you must have many people using the application. I see the website there where you can get started. Now, how many people using the application so that once they see that your ads and interact with your ads, you earn in dollars from it. So for now, concentrate on building something very, very good and very, what people will need. You understand? So once you do that, you cannot talk about making money from it. So any other question? We have less than a minute to go. So somebody said, what can you learn before creating an app? Please learn how to write codes. So as simple as that. Learn programming. You understand? Some people started, like I started as a web developer. So I learned so many programming languages before I delved into programming, before I delved into writing mobile applications. So, and it was easier for me because I already have the foundational capacity of programming. You understand? So once you can code, then you can be able to build another application. That's it. So I think we can say we are done with our training now, this presentation. So download the application I sent, and practice it. You see that programming language there, and also you see Flutter language there. Sorry, let me send the final link. And this for those that want to learn. What's this app? Sorry. That want to learn how to write codes other than Flutter. Okay, there's an app called Solo Learn. It's called Solo Learn. Now just search for it. I think I used it some years ago. The app is called Solo Learn app. So you can search for it on Play Store. You learn so much. People that want to learn Python, that want to learn JavaScript, that want to learn Java, that want to learn C#, and you don't have a computer, I think you can download that mobile app. As you're learning, they give you option to practice it. So that's one thing I love about this application. So I think that's all. Thank you very much, and God bless you.